this corner, the Marvel Legends Deluxe Red Hulk by Hasbro, and in this corner, the Marvel Select Red Hulk by Diamond. Which Ross is the right fit for your collection? Place your bets and stick around. It's time for another Versus. Welcome to 5 Points of Articulation. Starting with the packaging, and while there are obviously differences, there are some interesting similarities between these two boxes. Marvel Legends comes in a reusable, collector-friendly window box, whereas Marvel Select comes in a one-and-done blister card. One detail I found fascinating is that Marvel Select specifies that this is Red Hulk, whereas Marvel Legends is just the Hulk logo in red. One detail that I think is pretty cool, though, is that both figures use the exact same picture on their spine. Pay attention to that fiery background, by the way, because we're going to talk about it later. Flipping them around, and both figures have product shots, and while Legends does include a little bio, this one's bio is way more extensive and gives credit to the designer and sculptors. Giving credit where it's due always puts a smile on my face, but being collector friendly does make me happier. For packaging, this round goes to Legends. Moving on to presentation, and Marvel Legends is 8 5/8 inches, or just about 22 centimeters, whereas Select is 9.5 inches, or 24.5 centimeters. Legends is mainly reuse of their regular Hulk, and Select is mainly reuse of their regular Hulk. The only differences are the heads and paint jobs. Hasbro opted for this raging head. Given the box art, that makes sense. Diamond, however, selected this sadistic grin. While both heads are appropriate for the character, I do find this one a bit more compelling. Maybe menacing is the better word. I love the personality, and the detailed teeth really sell it. What I like most about the Hasbro one is I feel like if you painted it green, it would work for Banner as well. These two figures are so similar that if you told me Gentle Giant sculpted both of them, I would absolutely believe it. In fact, I actually did a bunch of Googling to see if that was the case, but my searches didn't turn up anything. If you know something about that, though, sound off in the comments. Just looking at them, you can see how similar the proportions and details are. On the subject of details, one thing I appreciate is the shading in the skin. Similar to the 80 Years Hulk, Ross has been cast in a darker red with some brighter red highlights, though admittedly, I do kind of like the color scheme on Select better. Not only is it brighter and warmer, like he might burst into flames at any second, the skin also has more of a matte finish, which just feels more lifelike. Not only that, but while both figures did a wonderful job of texturing those tattered pants, Select went in with extra paint detail to shade them, and even went the extra mile to give them a nice silver button. In fact, my only criticism of the Select figure is the same criticism I had of their Immortal Hulk, which is that his feet just feel kinda flat, leastways as compared to Legends. On that note, both figures' toe and fingernails have been painted black. It's not a phase, Dad! I'd also be remiss if I didn't point out that Legends had a couple of tears in the pants, which required some extra paint detail, and because of how alike these figures are, it really does come down to those little details. Both figures look great, but between the personality of the grinning head, the colors and finish, and the extra paint detailing given to the pants, for presentation, this round goes to Select. Moving on to Poseability, and I have a feeling we have a pretty good idea of where this is going to go. Just a reminder that Marvel Select is contractually limited in the number of articulation points their figures are allowed to have, so as not to compete with Marvel Legends. From the top, and both figures' heads are on dumbbell joints. Here is your head swap for the video. They can look up this high, with Select having a slight edge, but down is pretty much the same. A little bit of a gap on Select though. Since they are dumbbell joints, that means that they do get tilt, but Legends is definitely better in that department. Moving down, and neither Ross can raise his arms all that high, but Legends has the added bonus of butterfly joints. Beyond that, and both figures have bicep swivel, as well as single jointed elbows, but unlike Marvel Select, Legends elbows can also swivel. Speaking of swivel, at the ends of the arms, both figures have swivel hinge wrists. The range on those are pretty much even. Moving to the middle, and both figures have a diaphragm joint and a swivel waist. They can arch back this this far, with Legends obviously having the better range, and hunch forward this far, with Legends again having the deeper bend. Their side to side is almost equal, but Legends is better, and while both figures get twist at the diaphragm and also the waist, it's worth noting that the waist on Select is really stiff. Below the waist though, and both figures have ball jointed hips. No one's getting a black belt with these kicks, but their splits are surprisingly wide. Moving down the leg, and both Hulks have thigh cut. They also have double jointed knees with fairly equivalent bends. Neither one has any kind of boot cut, unfortunately, but they both have ankles that can hinge, and like General Thunderbolt Ross going from hating the Hulk to becoming one, pivot. Coming, I'm sure, as a surprise to absolutely no one, for Poseability, this round goes to Legends. Moving on to Playability, and admittedly this section's gonna be kinda brief. They have fists, they have open hands, and that's it. It would have been cool if Select could have come with an extra angry head, and if Legends could have had an alternate smiley one. Additionally, the Red Hulk has the ability to self-immolate, so what would have been really cool is if somebody could have given him fire effects. Although I don't have them myself, I can't help but wonder if the snap-on flames from Ultimate Green Goblin would work on the Marvel Legends. And yeah, doing a Google, and it does seem like some people do that. That said, these are big chunky figures, and any additional pieces would have driven up the price. Still, I do think it would have been cool. Fortunately, Playability is more than just accessories, it's also about how well your figure plays with others. First things first, and of course here we have the Marvel Legends Hulk, and the Marvel Select Immortal Hulk, but for a couple of other Marvel Select Hulks, and here's this one inspired by the art of Mark Silvestri and Planet Hulk, but for another non-Bruce Banner Hulk, and here's the Marvel Legends Amadeus Cho Build-A-Figure. Of course, we've got to bring out that sensational retro card She-Hulk, but for the only other Hulk antagonist in my collection, here we have the leader. As for some Volume 4 era Avengers, and here we have the 80 Years Marvel Legends cap and the original Disney Store exclusive Marvel Select cap, and of course I've got to bring out Bucky cap. I don't have the Marvel Legends Bleeding Edge Iron Man, but I do have Select, and otherwise here we have the Marvel Legends Extremis. I also don't have this version of Thor in Legends, but I do have Select. Otherwise, here's Legends and Select versions of Hawkeye, Spider-Woman, and Warbird, and don't worry, I will be talking about Warbird sooner or later, and the 85 Years Wolverine and the retro card Spider-Man. Lastly, and just because Google tells me they're allies and I seldom ever get to bring them out, here he is with Terrax. And despite this section mostly just being relative scale comparisons, for a relative scale comparison, here's Red Hulk with Pete, the Spidey, and the Spectacular Spider-Man. And as always, here he is with Stealth Iron Man. With matching accessories, I do think in this case it comes down to scaling. While Legends size is fine with other Legends figures, the nice thing about Select is if you're open to Red Hulk being bigger, he can mix and match with both 7 and 6-inch figures. For Playability, this round goes to Select. This leaves us with nothing left to discuss but the price. This Marvel Legends Red Hulk is a Target exclusive reissue and was $34.99, whereas Marvel Select was only $30 on BigBadToyStore.com. But notice my use of the past tense. As of this recording, both figures are sold out at retail, but that doesn't mean that there isn't still some Target out there where you might still find this one. More importantly, with Marvel Select being a direct market release, there's a great chance of being able to find them at your local comic book store. Additionally, Diamond has a much better track record of restock, so it wouldn't surprise me if we didn't see him again. In fact, this one was a restock. On the aftermarket, it does look like Legends is going for a bit more, so between retail price, aftermarket price, value of plastic in box, and the chance of it getting reissued again, for price, this round goes to Select, who wins the battle 3-2. Agree? Disagree? Sound off in the comments, and check out more Hulk-related videos here. Until next time, play nice and have fun.